Good. I know, right? My face is facing. I tried to try makeup on today and on giving. Yeah, stay away from my wardrobe, please. Stay away from my wardrobe. Okay, so I'm gonna be sharing. From former Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun's session, and she started off with I love that session. Very sharp, of course. I'm like a fake British kind of person, right? Again, because I spent most of my adult formative years of my adulthood, not of my childhood, of my adulthood in the UK. So whenever people are speaking, the real ones, not the fake ones that we can't even tell where the accent from, the real ones, right? It helps me, I connect, I understand, and it makes it to be vibey. Okay, so the first okay, let me start from this because I wrote some here, then before I now went to go and get this one and be writing, because just like I can't keep up with this one. And this is my journals, by the way. I design journals and make journals. Anyway, that's not why we're here. Okay, so she said 80% of people are employed by an SME, and that is why a number of us are frustrated, or a number of us, let me put myself in this equation, a number of us are frustrated because SMEs are the highest employers, and that means that you probably might just need to go through 3 or 4 levels to be able to get to your founder, to be able to get to the CEO. So it's not a large organization like your Big Four, your KPMG, your Microsoft, your whatever. Even though the owners have gone to appoint CEOs and people to run the organizations. So for any organization that most people are working for, even the banks, I hope you know, the financial industry are usually almost owned by people that, I know banking might not be that easy, but my explanation is most recruiters of labor are found in SMEs. So that might be the reason why, imagine if someone is the one selling biscuit. Because I'm selling biscuits, they are very involved in the in and out because it's their business, it's their baby. You might be going with an attitude, which we're going to cover a bit there, where you might just be going to work with an attitude of I beg, I'm just looking for something to do while I just get my life together. That is not possibly how the founder or the owner of the business treats it. So you see them always prognosing, changing, yes, prognosing, allow me to use that word, or interfering, maybe prognosing is not the right word, but interfering with the everyday business. They change. They wake up and they say, oh, this is the plan for the year, but then the next day, they've changed. They wake up again and say, oh, this is the strategy, this is what we're going to do for the year. Then the next day, they've changed. Why? Because it is their baby, it is their business. So what she shared something that said 80% of employer of laborers in Nigeria, and I think honestly globally as well. Oh, actually, can you just pass? Thank God I have YouTube. I can at least cut down, but for Instagram, how can I cut down? Oh, the man not be told no. God, I beg. Okay, sorry about that very important interruption. Okay, so she shared that 80%. So that is why you would get to work, and things are changing because your founder is heavily involved in the business process. Then she said something which is one of the things, along as with Mr. Tosin too, is something that has been trending, which is having a God idea does not exempt you from the market. It does not exempt you from competition. It doesn't exempt you from having a structure. So yes, God has given you the idea. It can be called God's kingdom, like she was sharing her own experience. And it was nice because most of the speakers were actually sharing from their own experience. They're not coming based on books that they've read. They're not giving you, prestigious lectures. They're coming from their own personal experience. And she shared that she had failed businesses. She had debt to pay. Okay. I don't know who else should have been a Minister of Finance if not that. But then again, I don't know what the facts and figures are. But I'm only going by what she did at platform, and it's true. You cannot have a God-given idea and assume that you are shielded or you are covered from competition. You can't say because you prayed and fast for the job and they gave you a contract miraculously means that you are now covered. Means that you should not deliver, means that you should go to work with an awkward attitude, means that you shouldn't turn up on time, means that you should turn up shabbily and anyhow. No, it doesn't, because that is not going to save you from the other people who are in your workspace and doing and excelling. And who knows, have other gods as well, small g, right? So it does not exempt you from that. She also said something which, again, I saw my pastor uploaded, and then the whole comment section just went fire. Angels don't bring don't bring customers. She said marketing does. While, yes, I get the miraculous work. Yes, angels can actually bring customers. I understand that. But trust me, if you are inside your room and you are not talking about what you sell, your customers are not going to come and knock on your doors. If you're not selling, if you're not talking about what you do, nobody's going to know when to talk about you. So that is a form of marketing. Because the only reason why we also know about angels is because Jesus to talk about angels. Oh, we have a book that talks about the importance of angels as a Christian. That is kind of marketing. Jesus went everywhere talking about the kingdom and talking about him is the son and is the father. In fact, that was one of the reasons why they wanted to crucify him. That how dare this one says that he's better than us. He went everywhere. He didn't sit down in his carpenter shop saying, oh, I have been called. They would find me. No. That is the Son of God. He went out doing good, healing, preaching, using parables, talking to people, being friends with sinners, being friends with religious teachers as well. He did not sit down one place. So while it is a God-given idea or a miraculous job that you're praying for and they just promoted you miraculously, there are things that you and I still have to do to make sure we are above average, that we are outliers, that we're not just like everybody else. There is something that we still have to do. So whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an entrepreneur in the workspace, what are you doing? Work came. Nobody's going to promote you just because, oh, you were part of this meeting, you were part of that meeting. They would promote you based on the metrics and what you bring back to your appraisal. So that even if you're going to get fired or even if you're going to get let go, it should not be that, oh, you always turn up late, or your character is bad, or oh, you have bad mouth, or your this always has typos, or they've given you this feedback severally, you've not worked on it. That is not going to get you promoted because it was a miraculous job. Get it? Okay, moving on. So she also pointed 4 things or 4, let's say, frameworks that she puts her own ideas through, whether in government or in private. And I really love them. I mean, something I think to me, I don't know, I think, is it not just common sense? People don't do that. Like when she was saying, I was just like, when I was going to my newsletter, I was like, I don't understand. People don't do this. Like, when as a business person, even me that was just selling slippers, there was a time in my life I was a slipper seller. I was selling footwear. It's called Manstyle NG. Shout out to those that were patronizing me then. And yes, I did make at some point a profit of over 1M. Shout out again, but that business is shut and closed. Moving on swiftly, right? So it's funny how the framework that she had mentioned is something that people don't do. I have many questions again. However, she talked about the questions mean, is there a demand, the numbers game, and then the time, and then the team. So I'm going to run through that again because of the sake of time. We're going to be making all of our series very short now and not make them a longer one because of the different things that we're trying to make sure we meet more people and it is condensed as well. So the first one we talked about was the demand, the market. It's law 1. Is there a market for it? So because 2 people bought Ankara from you all of a sudden assume that there's a big need for Ankara. Okay. Because 20 people ordered small chops from you from church or from a party, you now assume that yes, you can now outreach and start doing jollof rice. Because yeah, people will definitely order. I know people that are caterers and that they've assumed that when they go, in fact, scratch that. Let me scratch that. Let me use this valuable one that my pastor even used for this platform. So he had said that when they put out the link for platform and businesses to come through, what he found out that was most of the businesses that were coming through were food business. They were chicken, they were food. And they saw, that is why it's very important. Don't always assume that. I mean, like, again, shout out to Pastor Koju. What he does in my life is a lot. Like, a lot. Only God can ever repay him. Even I cannot even repay him. Maybe I can drive him my Bentley when I buy it. Yeah. But yeah, moving on swiftly. But yes, I would definitely give him a drive in my Bentley. That one is for sure. Okay, because nobody enters my Bentley. Well, besides my husband, who might be buying one of the tires. And maybe my children, if they decide not to eat inside. However, moving on, wasting the topic. So, and then it talked, no, she can't, sorry. So it talked about the fact that when it was the actual event, like a lot of food businesses were, and what what statistics and data. We are not data driven. So you want to open a business, that is good. It's a good idea, right? Go on, open it. But don't open it, bam. Except, of course, you know, it's money that you cannot declare. That's on you and how you face your God. But we're talking about the right way. Try it small. Is there a demand? Then gradually grow. Don't just grow and go in and give it. I know I hear all this, I'm giving it my heart, and it's great. But you still have to do research. So Pastor Kojo was sharing the fact that in the previous what's it called? In the previous platform, a lot of food people had come and they carried their food back home. Because why? Platform is almost like a businessy seminar session. So when people are done, they carry their notes and they go back home. They're not looking for small chops. They're not looking for jollof rice. They're not looking for ewedu. They're not looking for amala. They might be looking for, excuse me, they might be looking for what's it called, books. They might be looking for journals. They might be looking for services. So he said it on the pulpit and said, please guys, food people, it's a no. We need more service oriented people that would serve the people that are coming. So whether you're a CV person, you're this, you're that. I remember I was making a joke with my husband that, oh, I'll go and sell my journal and then I'll just make the backdrop of our shop or of our store be his face. And if anybody buys 10 journals, they have 30 minutes free with him. Maybe that will be at the next platform. However, it's based on statistics, on what the demand was. So this year was like, no, it needs more of service people. And that is what one of the law that she gave. Is there a demand? If there was no demand, what kind of demand is in the market? What have you tested? What have you done? Would it grow? Will people pay for it? Or if people are paying for it, if people are not paying for it, and it's something new to the environment or to the market, what are you going to be packaging with it that would allow it to be seen? So if it's a job role as well, so I wrote that down as okay. Okay, no, that was for number 2. So then she went on and she, explained that you need the results, and then is there a need for it? If there's no need for it, then it's not a business or not even a freelancing space that you should be going to. If there's nobody has ever done it before, why are you going into it? If it's a cut from a bigger role, what I mean by that is, let's say for instance you're a virtual assistant and you haven't been able to get a virtual assistant role from Obodoimbo or whatever. Do you know that you can even still manage people's calendar? Some people are so busy that they don't even have a calendar. They need someone to be reminding them. Can you take a pull out of that bigger JD and focus on it and even start with that? Please, can you get that water? Sorry guys, I'm coughing, I'm choking.
It's like past job.
Thank you. Oh, so sorry. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. All right. So she then talked about the fact that the results are needed, and then even so, I was explaining the fact that you can even take a bit out from a larger JD. So maybe it's an admin assistant that you want to be, but there is a need for note takers. Can you concentrate on the note takers part so that gradually, when you get someone's trust in handling their calendar, when you get someone's trust in maybe just even doing their videos and their pictures, you can now start to expand and say, oh, do you know that by the way I did videos? Or do you know that by the way I can also do some other VA jobs for you? Because at least you've gotten your foot in and then you can start to expand. Second thing she talked about was the numbers, the revenue and cost. What I relating that to a professional, because she was more into the business and entrepreneur side of things, was what's your role currently in terms of salary demands. Most of the time as Nigerians, we are comparing the salary of someone that lives in a country where there is lights, where there is stable network, where there are good roads, where you can easily just walk into one shop and buy everything from your house. And when I say buy everything for your house, I mean buy from milk to toothpaste to a furniture to iron to a bed frame in one store. You are comparing your salary to that kind of system. Sometimes it may work and sometimes, to be honest, it can't. And then you're also wanting to command the same salary that someone that has 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of experience, where you only have one. I hear the fact of, oh, but then nobody's giving me a chance. I'll give you an example. I did a session with some brothers and sisters in Christ, allow me to use that description. And it was about CV. And I told them, I'm a CV expert, so please don't expect me to come and give you anything on CV. But you know what, before that session, can 4 people or 5 people send me their CVs? And the CVs that I got, some people have not been working since 2024. Some have not been working since 2021. I don't blame them. It's not their fault. It has nothing to do with them. But then I ask, so what have you been doing? What have you been doing? So I don't see any certification. I don't see any volunteering role. I don't see any pro bono thing that you have done on your CV. So you want me to believe that you've been out of the workforce for 5 years and there is nothing you have been doing? Have you been organizing events? Have you been organizing other people's events? Have you been part of communities? What have you been doing that would almost let someone as an interviewer or as a recruiter understand the fact that you have been energizing some form of skills and soft skills that you have? But instead, what your CV is telling me is you haven't been doing anything. So you might say, oh, what has that got to do? There is miracle. Yes, there is miracle, and miracle has its own place. But guess what? Even for iron, excuse me, even for iron, if you don't use it often, it gets rusted, right? Oh God, so sorry about that. Even for iron, it gets rusted if you don't use it after a while, and you have to keep putting oil in it. Exactly the same thing. So if your role, if you have not been working, you need to make sure that you understand the fact that there is going to be a sudden pay cut. That is the reality. Please don't argue with me. Argue with me except if you are a recruiter. I'm sorry that I have 2 mics, because sometimes one of my mic, yep, that one always goes off. I don't know which one. I never know which one it is. They don't argue with me if you don't know. You have been out of the system. So of course, so you want to compare yourself to someone that has been in that system for that long. No, you're not what the same. Even me as a mom, and a lot of women can testify to that. The maternity leave and the maternity time you take off affects your salary, affects your bonus, affects even your promotion. That is just the reality of it. Then that's just 6 months, or sometimes 9 months, or sometimes a year. Then you have been out of workforce. Then you have not even put any evidence to say, I have been volunteering, I have been doing this, I have been doing this pro bono, where there is evidence that you have been actually doing something. Because ideas are fantastic, ideas are great, no ideas are new. I always say that. But guess what is hard? Execution. Using that idea, using that skills, the execution is always the problem. So if you're looking for a job, if you're in a market space or a business owner, she says, do not run away from your numbers. Be honest with your numbers. If you want to enter a new industry, if you want to pivot to there's going to be a salary cut. Do you understand what? Don't stop comparing your salary with people in Obodo Imbo. You are not the same. Your environment is not the same. If you no, let me not get into that because this is recorded. Let me just move on. What is the salary rate in your industry for your level, for your experience? I think there are a number of platforms where you can go and check that out. LinkedIn is also a good one. So if you're trying to compare yourself and say you should be collecting $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, please can you go and check what other people that have the same, not people that have done masters, not people that have done PhD, that have the same similar qualification. You did agriculture, you did one tech program, you are all of a sudden finished and you say you want to collect $2,000. How? You did agriculture, bro. Sis, you did. Like, it's going to take time. One certificate is not going to be equal to that. You need to show evidence. You need to show working. Have you seen what the numbers are? You all of a sudden want to start comparing yourself to the first guy that was hired by Facebook. Do you know how many years he worked for? Do you know what he finished in school with that could have made it easier for him? I'm not saying it's bad to not pivot. You should pivot. But my point is we're talking about numbers now. So I was speaking to someone as well last week, and I was explaining, and it was a consultation, and I was explaining to her that, oh, this is a great pivot that you want to do, but are you also ready to take a salary pay cut? And then she paused. I'm like, oh yeah, because you take salary cuts, because it's an industry that you have not been in before. And if you have to enter that industry and allow someone to want to open the door or the chance for you, you're almost going to kind of accept an intern kind of maybe title or an executive kind of title. But you now just have to understand that when you enter that place, you will show them why that title does not apply to you. Because it's not because that is the title you should not say, after I'm just an intern now, you're going there with a plan, because you know that in the next 1 year nobody will tell your recruiter or will tell the HR that this person deserves a promotion. And that was the story of Mrs. Ngozi Akiyele. When she went through, and I've jumped now because of time, when she went through her bosses and her SpongeBob analysis, she mentioned that her boss spotted her. Leaders would always know. Because again, I have led a team, so you would always know the serious one, and you always know the ones that are just doing the job just to pass by. And as a leader and as a senior person as well, the responsibility and the God responsibility on you as well is to raise and pull those people up, coach them in the right way, nurture them in the right way, in ways that you were never nurtured. Don't come and say, oh, you know, when it was my own time, nobody gave me that way, so me too. No. Coach them in the way that you wished someone has spotted you and given you that chance. That was what happened to Mrs. Ngozi Akiyele. And because of the sake of time, I'm going to stop here. So next week, I think that the whole month of May, we're just going to be going into my notes from the platform, right? So if you enjoy this, let me know what you're taking away. Let me know what your action points are. And next week, we'll continue. And we'll continue with, because we already talked about the 2 points. So we conclude on Mrs. Kemi's Adeosun's session. If you want me to share notes for more of the sessions and relating it and how you can also embody it as well, because one of the things that I find out is whenever I go for these events and sessions, it's a lot. We take notes, we don't go back to them, and then we have the notes, and then because you're just doing it, you have been a sponge. You're going from events, conferences, everything. You have not sat down with yourself to be still and look through the points and all of the things that you have and start to action them. You're just going here. They've told you here, oh, Tosin talked about cocoa. Oh, this person talked about this. Oh, you are going. But you've not actually sat down to say, okay, for the next 6 months, for the next 3 months, this is what I want to do from this actual session that I heard, or that I attended, or that I was told, or that I've been enlightened on. So I'm going to come again next week at 21:45 series, and we'll finish this notes that I have. Hopefully, if you let me know that if there's any other person's session that you'd like me to break down, relate and all of that, please just comment that in the comment section as well. And I do hope you also take time and go back, because what the platform has done, bless the media team, is they've broken everyone's session, so you don't have to work four whole hours stretch. You can actually just pick each of the sessions and watch. The only other part that I know I have not watched is the one that had Mrs. Indidi's husband and a couple. The other one, but the one that I watched was one that had Mr. Tosin, then I think his name was Joseph, and then those are the ones that I've been watching where Mrs. Kemi was asked. So till I come your way again, my name is Shobabajide Joshua, and this is the Show Bidis corner on the Show Bidis and you can binge watch all of the previous episodes if you have that time. They're all hours long. I promise you. I'm trying to make sure we get them shorter into smaller bites as well. And I do hope that you join us, you watch, you comment, you share, and you like. I hope to see you next time. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and let me know what you're taking away with you this week. Till I see you next week. Bye everyone. Take care.